We go. Good morning, everybody. We're back. Hello, and we are with Tom K this morning. Tom, say hey to everyone this
Hey,
morning.
everybody. Happy New Year, everybody.
I know it's already almost February. So it's the last week of January. I don't know where January went because everyone was thinking, okay, I can't wait until we finally get to the new year and everything's going to change and be awesome. And honestly, I don't know about you, but I woke up on the first and everything was exactly the same as it was on the 31st.
It's the truth. It's the truth. I
Well,
don't know
what
what
does
to do
that
really.
what does that tell us though? That tells us that change comes from within, right? We just can't
Very good. Yeah,
expect
absolutely.
everything on the outside to just magnificently change in our favor and then we wake up and the birds are chirping and everything's exactly the way we want it. So that really kind of starts our conversation for today
Mhm.
because I wanted to talk to Tom. I met Tom quite a while back. Tom has been in other worlds of mine back in corporate, um, where you have your vendors and your brands, and there's a lot of networking that goes on between those two. But what I loved about Tom, and everyone's like, why is she interviewing a man? This is so different. I don't normally interview men, but this subject for me really hits home for those ladies that are in the corporate world. And if we want to create more jobs for women at the executive level and not be fighting over the one or two that might exist, it takes teamwork and it takes the roles of both the male and the female in the workplace and supporting each other. And Tom, you're the epitome of a man in that role for me, that on all the women that I've met along the way that admire you so much because of your willingness to step in that leadership role and sponsor and mentor women. So that's why we have you here today on the show. And I just wanted to really start off and ask you the question, is this something that naturally just came to you and you felt that it was just the right thing to do in the workplace? Did you recognize certain traits in certain women you were working with, or how did this all start for you?
That's a great question. I think for me, I've been very fortunate enough to be in situations where I have worked alongside women as well as worked for women. And, I'm the biggest fan of women, especially the fact that, they're superhuman in many cases. So I did fall in that role, I think. And I think also for whatever reason, people gravitate to me in regards to that. So I love the idea of being this mentor. And to me, one of the words that defines mentor is guide. And so if I can use any resources or experience that I've had in the past that I can help somebody navigate a hurdle or go around a pothole, I love doing that. And so I've always done it. And like I said, I've been in this space for 25 years, and it seems like I'm always aligning my expectations and goals with women that are along with me. And I want to do everything I can to lift them up.
I appreciate that. We all appreciate that. And I'm still stuck on the word superhuman. You did say women were superhuman. So
I will go to my grave. Superhuman. I am in awe of women.
thank you. We appreciate that and acknowledging that. I had a lot of male roles in my corporate days, and I wouldn't be where I am today without the leadership they offered me, without the guidance they offered me, without they're hard conversations sometimes to have, but if you truly want to make lasting changes and learn in your life, you've got to have someone there that's willing to not only mentor but sponsor you. So we should
Mhm.
probably talk about the
Sure,
difference
sure.
between the two of those because not everyone knows that there's a difference between those two, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I
Yeah.
think in the case of sponsor, I almost feel like it's a situation where you're more familiar with the individual, the woman that we're talking about, and you recognize the strengths that she has. She may not even know that she has those strengths, but you've identified those. And the person that you're trying to sponsor her up to, is going to rely on you to be that educator.
Yeah.
Why are we interested in her? Why should she be in this role? And I think you really have to be it is a cheerleader role in some cases, but it's also the idea that you're trying to showcase her strengths to somebody who may not be fully aware of those strengths, and where do those strengths apply in the opportunities or the goals or the objectives of the business.
That's exactly true. And then, So that's really your sponsor. And, that's generally a person that may be above you, or in a management or supervisor role, or in a different role in the company that recognizes that and is shining that spotlight on you. And then as a mentor, that's really the guide, right? The
Mhm.
mentor. And I feel like sponsorship is a lot of mentoring as well. But
Yeah.
the mentorship doesn't include the piece of shining the spotlight on them. It's really about working on the strengths that they have today,
Yeah.
honing those in and looking at opportunities for what they can look at moving into, as far as honing those skills so that they have the opportunity to then go into a different role that they may be looking at. Or it's a lot that you find out about yourself in a mentorship role.
Yeah.
And you're in discovery zone is how I feel when you're mentoring, because you're
Right.
looking for someone to be there to help you develop and help
Mhm.
you be guided in the right direction. And that doesn't always involve sponsorship at first.
No, and I think too, it really, it's some level of persistence. I mean, I think a lot of the times, and you live it, you've been in corporate America and now your
Yeah.
role here, women just hit a brick wall 9 times out of 10. And it's easy to become negative. It's also easy to be kind of draw back and say, well, I'm done. In the case of those situations, you really have to be persistent. And I say persistence is really a seventh sense. It's a requirement. You have to know that you're going to hit that brick wall. And then when you do, what are you going to do? And
Yeah.
so I think when you have a mentor in your life, those questions are going to come across. And the other thing is that if a mentor is good at what they do, they're going to be asking those probing questions that are going to get the mentee to really think, well, I don't know, I've really not thought about that. You're going to have to set them up because those questions are going to come, and maybe the mentor is not going to be around when they do. And
Mhm.
so it's all about coaching them to expect some negativity, to expect some obstacles. And when I see obstacle, I say it's an opportunity. You can choose to be
Mhm.
negative, or you can choose to say this is an opportunity for me, in which case that makes that relationship even stronger with the mentor and mentee, because you now have this, collectively you're going to move forward. And it's really exciting. Like, to me, that's what I really get a charge out of. If I can help somebody uh, move to the next level, I mean, what greater reward for me. It is really a privilege.
Or even recognize where they are today. Maybe they're taking that for granted, right? And they don't realize the impact that they make with the work that they're doing today, and giving a different perspective to that and helping them realize that maybe that can't be done without them.
Yeah.
I heard a quote the other day, and I know I'm going to botch this up. I do every time, but it had something to do with, if they forgot that you were if they have forgotten you were there, you didn't if they have forgotten you already, you didn't make an impact when you were there, or something like
Right.
that. And I was like,
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
there should be an absence, right? If that person's truly making an impact, there's an absence or a hole when that person isn't there. And realizing the impact that you're making during the time that you're there. You talked a lot about obstacles and persistence, and it has a lot to do with your attitude. I
Absolutely.
even went live this morning 30 minutes ago and
Yeah.
talked about our attitude. We have to it is crucial, it is imperative that we have an attitude not only of gratitude for the things that we have in
Absolutely.
our lives, but the things that we want in our lives that aren't even there yet. We need to have gratitude for those things before they even arrive,
Yeah.
and having gratitude for those that are supporting us. But if you're putting yourself down and you have a negative attitude about those things around you, it will directly affect how you're able to not achieve, or achieve and persist through those obstacles.
No, spot on. I mean, I think the idea of attitude, it is everything. If you talk to any of the people that are around my life, attitude is everything. You're right. Negativity. I think it's Einstein who says, "Stay away from negative people because they have a problem with every solution." And I just refuse to be around negative people. And I think, to your point about persistence, it really is this idea that how can we use how can I use my experience to help somebody navigate this complex world which they're in. And the idea too is that you really need to sit down with them and understand where they want to go, what their goals are, and their take opportunities for them to grow within the account.
Yeah, it's absolutely so true. I call them energy suckers.
Oh,
We had an article written in our magazine once, and they were called vampires, right? Because vampires or suck your blood, or but
mhm,
they call them energy suckers because negative influences in your lives, they really pull you down. They're not
mhm,
lifting you up. They're not providing air under your wings. They're not giving you fuel that fires your drive, right?
mhm.
So
Yeah.
surrounding yourself with the people that are wanting to support you, that are there to support you, that have a positive attitude, people like
Yeah.
Tom in the workplace who want to help others, who like to shine the spotlight on others, because teamwork is really how the dream works. It
Mhm.
really does in the end. We can't go alone out there in the entrepreneurship or even in corporate America. You can't be out on an island by yourself. I lived it. I know it doesn't work. The more that you step into the spotlight, request others to help you stand in that spotlight, it's really important what people are saying about you when you're
Yeah.
not in the room.
Yeah, I think too. I mean, obviously, you've created a platform for women to do that, and I applaud you for that. That's awesome, and then you'll continue to soar. I think in some of the worlds that I play, we obviously you're familiar with Women in Action. I'm very fortunate to be part of that group, but I mean, I'm just in awe of the women in that group because, to your point, they're in an environment which is primarily male, and they're trying to navigate as best they can. They may see a woman out there all by herself and they'll bring them in because, to your point, you really have to have a group
Mhm.
of like-minded individuals that understand the space in which they live, and collectively through encouragement and constantly providing value to that individual, the group grows as well. I think in our world today, you have so many resources available to you, and it kind of goes along the lines of persistence, is that you've got to find it. And so if you can align yourself with something like yourself, or an organization like yours, or Women in Action, or just take that step of courage that says, I need somebody in my life that can help me. And to your point, it's not going to be the individual that's negative, that literally sucks the oxygen out of a room. You're going to get in an environment where people are going to cheer you on and say, hey, listen, you can do this. You stumble, but you can overcome
Mhm.
this. And I think when you do that, you have a a fresh view on life, and you say anything's possible, and anything is possible. You just have to do it.
Yeah. And it really is true. And so I talked about the word impossible last week, and it's I'm possible.
Yeah.
The word impossible is I'm possible. So, I worked in corporate America for about 28 years, and it men like you were in my life for most of my journey. And it was the women that I'm encouraging, and why I started this group, and why Women in Action
Mhm.
really exist. It's about helping women and bringing women together so we can support each other and not fight against each other. The more that we're able to support each other, lift each other up, provide opportunities for each other, create jobs for women, that is when women are really going to soar. And it takes both the feminine energy and the female energy and the masculine energy and the male energy in the workplace to really make this work. And men are seeing that more and more today, and so are females. So jobs are changing, women are stepping into more roles, and men are stepping into more roles,
Mhm.
in something that maybe would have typically been a female role.
Yeah,
And I love the opportunities that we're presenting and have in today's world for us to be able to do that.
absolutely.
So thank you, Tom, so much for being with us today. I'm
You
going
bet.
to put the links for Women in Action below.
Yes,
I'll also
please.
put the links. Yeah, I'll put the links in for Lead Up for Women, because women, like I keep talking about every single week so far this year, community, community, community. This should be the year that you find your tribe. Find 5 tribes,
Absolutely.
whatever it is. Start surrounding yourself with people that fuel you, that support you, that are there no matter what, and start getting rid of those that are the energy suckers, that
That's
are the
right.
vampires, that
Yeah.
are holding you back or holding you down. And you know who they are. You're
Yes.
recognizing right now, as Tom and I are speaking to you, you know who they are, and don't feel bad about, cutting those ties and removing yourself from those relationships, because they're
Yeah.
not healthy, And it's very hard, you know, to recover from that, from longevity. So I say, you know, get rid of those negative people, put positive people, surround yourself with those people in your life, and get into tribes that can help you grow in the corporate world as an entrepreneur, because we can't do this alone. We need
Amen.
other people.
Amen. Preach.
All right. Tom, it was so glad having you with me today. Thank you so much for being here.
You bet.
Ladies, go check out Lead Up for Women. Go check out Women in Action if you're in the corporate world. It's a great place for you to meet other women that lift you and support you. So
Amen.
happy Monday. Thank you for all being here today, and we look forward to
Thank
seeing you
you.
again next
Yes.
Monday. All
Yes.
right, you guys take care. Bye-bye.